Hey guys, Lionheart here. I'm going to be doing a bunch of shorter reviews. There's a lot of really good views out there. Matt Jensen or Alientude, Kyle at Alientude there, doing some really good reviews. They're fantastic. I can't top those. What I wanted to do was try to fill in some smaller gaps, make some shorter videos that are just kind of the down and dirty of some swords. Many of them the other guys may have covered. Some hopefully they have not covered. And I said, just trying to do really quick stuff out there, just so whenever I'm buying a new sword, I just want to look at some halfway decent review on YouTube. And let me see the sword, let me see it flex, talk about it a little bit, compare it to maybe other models out there that are similar that I might be considering. And sometimes that basic one isn't out there. And I said, if it is, really, they're longer reviews done by those really good guys. Awesome, but more reviews the better. So I'm starting to do some shorter reviews. I'm no digital expert. I won't be editing these at all. So whatever we get, we get. And again, just quick reviews. So I'm starting off at least today with this one. This is the Ronin Katana Fantasy 3 sword. I love their names, Fantasy 3. So it's clearly a Lord of the Rings Ranger version. I got this one because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I pretty much try out all the Ranger swords out there, and pretty much all the Lord of the Rings swords out there that are supposedly reasonably functional. So when they came out with this one just a very short while ago, I said, all right, have to get it, have to check it out. So I got it. Here it is. And I'll give you the general lowdown about it first, then I'll give you some other thoughts. So you can get it from Ronin Katana, direct from them for $395. I think shipping is a little bit extra, but $395. It's 44 3/4 in length. The blade's 33 3/4, so you got 10 inches about for the handle. It's 3 pounds, 10 ounces. So on the heavier side, but not ridiculous. Blade material, they claim it's 1075 steel, so a decent steel there, not too soft of a carbon steel. Point of balance is almost exactly at the 3-inch mark, so pretty solid for that, for what it is. The scabbard and the leather, they're some kind of fake leather. They're a pleather, a vinyl, whatever you want to call it. They're not real leather, unfortunately. It's not terrible. It's decent for what it is, but yeah, it's a fake leather of some sort. Pommel. The pommel on this guy is threaded. There is no peen on here, and I confirmed this with Ronin Katana because I was definitely surprised when I got it, and it was not peened. It doesn't say it on the site in their specs at all. So I emailed them, and they said, "Yep, nope, threaded." So that's not the end of the world. I guess I can talk about that a little bit right now. The really good swords out there are almost, at least medieval swords, are almost always peened. It means the part of the blade, the steel from the blade, continues in one solid piece all the way through the handle, through the pommel, and then gets hammered against the top of the pommel, basically sandwiching the whole thing together. It's the kind of traditional design. It's really solid. It's what the guys really want for the more expensive swords. You see that less and less with the less expensive swords. There are some $200 to $400 swords that you definitely do see that on. A lot of the Belor swords, windlass, almost all windlass are going to have that for the most part. A lot of the other ones out there, they will have that. Swordier, even some of the Swordier ones in that $300 range are going to have that. So it is doable. They chose not to do it for this. I don't know why. They didn't give me much of an explanation. They just said, yep, no, it's the pommel's threaded and Loctited on there. So on that said, it's not the end of the world. I don't think that dramatically takes away from this sword. It's still really solid. I didn't put it in my vise and try to unthread it, but I did hold it pretty firmly and try to unthread it. It's not going to come off easily. So as long as the tang is good and solid inside there, that's not the end of the world. It can be a deal breaker for some people. It might be a deal breaker for me keeping this one, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. If you do it right, the sword can hold up just as well as a peened sword. So anyway, there's that. The temper. So what does the temper refer to real quick? That's if you bend the sword, how well does it return to straight? And if I do this over my head right here, give it a pretty good bend, it's going to return to straight. This sword has a fantastic temper. It's, you saw I bent it pretty far there, and it comes back to straight quite well. So great temper, great temper. Let's see, the blade gap. When I refer to the blade gap, I'm going to get up and show you. So the blade gap is this gap in between the guard and the blade. I'll come up here and show you as best I can. So, maybe get better light coming from this side. Yeah, a little bit better. So the blade gap, you can see, it's decent. It's pretty tight for a budget sword. That's not bad at all. There you go. You can see that pretty well. Not bad at all. I'm pretty darn happy with that blade gap, actually. It's about a millimeter all the way around, versus even modern windlass, plenty of other swords have 2-3 millimeter gap all the way around. This one's got barely a millimeter, if that, all the way around. It's pretty consistent gap there. So well done on the blade gap. Last thing on the note is the handling. It handles pretty fantastic because it's a decent weight with a reasonable point of balance. I said right around that 3-inch mark. It handles pretty well. The blade is not overly heavy, so and it's got a decent weight to the pommel to counterbalance the weight that the blade does have. So it's pretty decent overall. I love the way it handles. You can hit it. There's no rattles at all. It's good and tight, really tight. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm gonna get close and show you the whole thing here again a little bit better. So the pommel again, not threaded. You can't see the tang coming through there. No peen. That's all right. Fake leather, nice ring spacer. The guard. It's not exactly movie accurate, but it's pretty darn good. They got the ends just about right. It's just that middle that's not quite right. And the rest of the blade. It is darn sharp, I'll tell you that. Come around this way. Yeah, the blade is darn sharp. There we go. And that center line is pretty even the whole way, too. Some people are really adamant about that. The fuller, both ends terminate about the same spot, more or less. So that's pretty good. There's not a lot of hammer marks or grind marks if you look down the blade. There is a little bit, but it's not bad. You can see the center line is straight and very minimal hammer marks. So that's that guy. All right, well, comparisons. I thought since there's a lot of comparisons out there, or a lot of similar versions out there, I thought I'd mention them. Dark Sword Armory makes one that looks really similar. I used to have it. It's, let's see, this one is 3 pounds 10 ounces. The Dark Sword one is 4 pounds 11 ounces. So 1 pound 1 ounce heavier than this guy, and it's 2 inches longer. Valiant Armory. $1,300 for the Valiant Armory, so triple the cost of this, but it's 3 pounds 1 ounce, so that is 9 ounces lighter than this one. So I appreciate that. A little lighter. It's very well balanced, and both those are peened. Dark Sword and Valiant Armory are the peened pommel. Kingdom of Arms makes one. You can get that one for $738, so still about almost twice the cost of this. That one's 3 pounds 8 ounces. It's 46.25 inches long, and it is also peened. So Dark Sword, Valiant Armory, Kingdom of Arms, all three of those are peened. Varying weights, varying costs there. Starting at double to quadruple the cost of this beauty here. The last one out there that I want to mention is Ryan Sword makes one. It's $320. It's 3 pounds 3 ounces, and it's just under a 40-inch sword altogether. That one also has a threaded pommel similar to this one. So you have two with the threaded pommel, this Ronin Katana and the Ryan Sword, both threaded. Neither site tells you that. I had to dig up that information from both manufacturers. Both threaded. Dark Sword, Valiant Armory, Kingdom of Arms are all peened. Now, those swords, the Dark Sword, of course, has they have a long story to them. I have a lot of Dark Sword swords that I used to have the Ranger. I liked it. It was a little heavy for me, though. That's why I did end up selling it. The guard is almost exactly the same as this one. The rest of the handle hilt is a little different. It's a little nicer than this because it's less. This looks very machine made, and it clearly is. The dark sword, it's a little less machine made, and it does at least has that peened pommel, but it's very heavy, very heavy. The Kingdom of Arms, I've handled that one as well. It's pretty good. It's better than the dark sword. It's a little lighter than the dark sword. Let's see, it's a pound lighter than the dark sword, so it is lighter. The blade doesn't have much distal taper, so I didn't mention for that for this one. Distal taper means as you go down the blade from where the guard is all the way to the tip, does the blade get thinner, or does it stay the same thickness like this? So this one has pretty good distal taper. It starts quite thick here. I didn't measure it. We're not being that precise. But it's got solid distal taper, maybe 5-6 millimeters, and then at the end it gets down to 2-3 millimeters. So definitely solid distal taper on this one. The Kingdom of Arms, I didn't find it to have very much distal taper. People say it does. When I looked at it, it has some distal taper. Might start at 5 millimeters and go down to 4 millimeters or something like that. It's minimal distal taper, so it felt pretty heavy to me. In my opinion, this one handles better than the Kingdom of Arms version. Not a bad sword. At least that one's peened. But I don't know. And you get real leather on that one, so this one with the fake leather. Anyway, and then the Valiant Armory, I have that one still, actually. I'll show that one off just while we're talking. So that's the Valiant Armory version. Almost the exact same length as, you can't see the full shot there, but the blade is the same length as this guy. The handle, you get about 2 extra inches with the Valiant Armory. This one is, a different animal altogether. I'll probably do a different review on this one just to show it off, but it's a beauty. It's absolute perfection. If you guys aren't familiar with Valiant Armory, this one's great. But yeah, I'll do another review on that one separately. So overall, I'm giving this guy a score of 7 out of 10. Saying 10 is the perfect sword, which this Valiant Armory is basically a 10. What does this one lose for? I took a point off for it not being peened, so 1 point for not being peened, 1 point for it not being real leather, and 1 point for it not being fully movie accurate. It's not a big deal, but if it's a Ranger sword, yeah, ideally I have it totally movie accurate, and none of them that are out there really are. This one, the pommel and most of the grip, the hilt is almost entirely accurate. I said basically just the center of the guard that's not quite right. So it's darn close. It's pretty solid. About a point for that. So 7 out of 10. Handle's great. It seems solid. No rattles. Small blade gap. Pretty solid. So that's it for this one, guys. Hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions about this one or if there's any other. So I'm going to start trying to go through all my swords basically that I haven't seen many reviews on out there. So let me know if you have any other questions. If you have other specific information you want added for other reviews, let me know so I can add it next time. All right, thanks guys. Lionheart out.